There's our little intro. Hello, everybody. How are we?
Hello.
Hello, I'm good.
You're good. Excellent. That's what I like to hear. So, we're not joined by our normal companion, Owen, this week because he's having a little break. But I've still got Parker with me. Oh, I pointed the right way because it's mirrored. I love that. I pointed the right way. So we've still got Parker with me, but we're joined by two other guests. So, guests, what are your names? Where do you come from?
Okay,
fair. I'm James. I used to work for Free2talk.
Yeah.
18 months ago? It's 18 months ago? That doesn't seem that long
18
ago.
months ago, yeah.
So I'm currently living in London. And yeah, I am buzzing to be back at Talk with Free2talk for the next hour or however long you're on for, James.
Yeah. Hour and a bit, maybe, or just under an hour. So that's wicked. What are you doing in London, James?
So that was very official, James. That was very official. So I'm working for the Salvation Army here. So that's why I left Free2talk to work for Salvation Army in London. So I'm on a 2-year training, and then after 2 years, you get sent to a community to work with the community. And I find out where I'm going to be placed in about 2 weeks' time. So it could be anywhere in the country.
Wow.
So we will find out.
You never know. It could end up in Northampton again.
Back to Northampton.
That would be weird. Coming back
excited.
full circle.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming and joining us, James. And Charlotte, what's your name? Where do you come from? If it's different to Charlotte, and you've just written a different name in there.
I'm Charlotte, and I live in Northamptonshire currently, and I'm doing volunteer work as part of my uni course at Free2talk.
Yay! Yeah, so Charlotte's been joining Parker and myself on our Twitch channel. Check out Free2talk Gaming on Twitch. There's a little plug. So we've got our first little hi. Hi, Lewis. Hi, Lewis. So we get to share that. So we might get a few highs throughout. So we're here for those that have seen it before. We talk about the news of the week from, say, a little bit more of a youth worker or young person-led perspective, or it just turns into me having a rant. Who knows what could happen and the joys that could happen. So what big thing has happened this week, obviously want to bring up, is the death of Sir Tom Moore, which is very sad. So Sir Tom, in case you missed all the PR stuff that was going on about Sir Tom, walked around his garden for the NHS and raised, how much money did he raise? Was it like $1 million?
Oh, we've lost them.
Oh no. Oh no, you're back.
I'm back. Oh, what happened? What happened?
You kind of froze like that, James.
Oh, was I? Oh, you were all frozen for me. Could you hear everything I was saying?
How much money did he raise? Did he raise?
You didn't hear anything I said. I gotta love this. So Lewis has said 30 million. So it's about 30 million. Yeah. So Sir Tom Moore was obviously knighted for it. He raised all that money for the NHS, and that was a great, amazing thing he did. And it was very sad that he died. He actually died of coronavirus after he got caught pneumonia a few weeks ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
He was doing a bucket list trip. I can't remember where he went.
He went to Barbados, was it?
Yeah. Which obviously, when you think of Barbados, you think very hot. How did you catch pneumonia? But he was 100, so prone to illness of travel. So yeah, it's very sad that he's died. But I want to bring up a little thing about Sir Tom, because he was a great inspiration, I think, for raising money for the NHS. But this is the thing about the whole situation. Shouldn't the NHS have enough money? Parker, what do we think?
I think the NHS should have enough money, but they don't. And that's no fault to their own. It's funded by the government as well. So I think it's sort of like a joint effort, really.
A lack of joint effort by who?
Just like to make things difficult for me. The government, and I think it also comes down to what their priorities are. There's so many people out there who are ill, where it could have been prevented if they had got the right treatment and the NHS was funded properly.
Yeah, funded properly. So there's a big thing. Just got a quick hello, Connor. So yeah, Charlotte, what's your thought? Let's go through everyone. Charlotte, what's your thought?
I agree with Parker. Really. I just think they should have enough money, but it doesn't necessarily mean they do have enough money. Yeah.
But why don't they have enough money then? Is it you students? Those damn students taking all my money.
Yeah, I know. We just like to cause trouble for everyone.
Yes.
live up to the stigma.
James.
Yeah, it's in. When I first heard it, that he's great, like raising money. You can't criticize what he's done at all. You can't. But the NHS isn't a charity itself. I know this, but he was raising money for NHS charities. If that makes it like there's like a little nuance to that, isn't it? So it's sad that there's obviously a gap of funding somewhere. It's sad that actually we need to rely on someone as wonderful as Sir Tom to raise money. It is a sad thing. We shouldn't have to, he shouldn't have to do that. But we'd rather he did do that, knowing he's raised some money. Do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He has done. Bless him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots to be said about. Obviously, financial crisis of 2010 when all you young people wouldn't remember any of it really. Apart from but I'm old. I do remember it.
How old are you?
I'm the big 40 next year.
You're not.
I am. See what I've done is I've pickled myself with tea with lots of sugar in it to keep me sweet and lovely. But with the whole thing about austerity, I mean, the NHS was one of the big things that got cut by the Conservative government consistently all throughout. So it's been underfunded for like 10 years. 10 years. And the amount it should be funded by is something like 100 billion a year. So 30 million that Sir Tom has raised, which is an amazing amount for those particular charities, in reality is it's a drop of water in the pond of the amount of money.
Really, isn't it?
Yeah. But the NHS has been underfunded by, so say it's 100 billion, because I think it's about 130 billion the last 2018, 2019. But say it's 100, so we can think of that in our heads as a percentage. So it's been underfunded by almost 2%. Less than it's needed to keep going every year. So that's £2 billion. It's been underfunded by, from 2018 to 2019. Is the most recent stuff I can get. I mean, that's a huge amount, isn't it? I mean, how many people are not getting care because of that money drop? What do you think?
I think it's sad, but also how wonderful is our NHS despite that?
Yes, very true. Very true.
I think that's incredible. Actually, NHS is such a massive institution for our country and such loved. And you look at other countries that miss out on this massive, beautiful healthcare. Yeah, we're still doing such a good job despite that. And I'm not saying that we don't need that money, because you can imagine the things it would achieve and the people it would save lives. If it did have sort of money. So.
Yeah. Just got another quick hello Bobby. Bobby Nightingale. He said hello to me last week. Bless him. He's really, I've missed him running around like a maniac in the Bellings Youth Club. Yeah, he is. A little terror. Love it. I mean, yeah, so we are obviously, with our NHS, we are a lot luckier than a lot of other countries around the world for our access to healthcare that we have. I mean, this do an extreme example of the difference between us and America, which is got private healthcare, and there's stories of people that one of the reasons why so many people have died of coronavirus is because there's no actual national healthcare in America. When they catch coronavirus and are really, really ill and then get taken to hospital, it's found that they've got multiple other conditions which are like severely life affecting, and that's
They
what
just wait it out.
They just wait out because they can't afford it. They can't
No.
afford to go. You can't go, I've got cancer, I'll go see the doctor, and then I go, that's $100,000, please.
It's ridiculous.
Just for the diagnosis. And yeah, so we are really, really lucky, I think. And our frontline workers have done an excellent job getting through it. I mean, I have spoken to a few like nurses and stuff who they're just keeping going. I mean, I don't know if anyone knows anybody who works for the NHS, do they?
Yeah, my auntie, she's a midwife, and my cousin is a paramedic, and I know students who are training to be paramedics and stuff, and you know, they do an amazing job. They go through so many years of training, you know, to be able to work for in the healthcare sector, whether that be for the NHS or whether to be for a private setting.
Yeah.
But I mean, they do an amazing job at what they do, and it's sad that, you know, it's being let down by it being underfunded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Charlotte, do you know anyone? Or do you know
I've got some friends who are training to be sort of working as paramedics or midwives and things like that. And I think they just find it really hard, obviously, because of the underfunding. You know, they just keep saying how good it would be if they would be fully funded. But I mean, it's hard to imagine, really. Yeah,
it's pretty bad. I'm just sorry. Just Bobby said, "Is everyone okay? Are you guys good? I'm good.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, thanks, Bobby." And Emma said, "Hello, James and James." Emma, don't forget Charlotte and Parker. Say hello to them as well. Yeah. So, I mean, our frontline workers, I think there's this whole thing where I feel like they're underappreciated. Is that just me?
No, I agree.
You agree? Do you think they're underappreciated for what they do?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, particularly nurses.
I think they are. I mean, we stood outside for however many months on, was it a Thursday or whatever it was, at a certain time, and we clapped, and it was amazing. But why are we just standing out on our doorstep and clapping instead of following the rules to prevent everybody catching it, therefore leaving less strain on the NHS and their nurses?
That's a difficult one to unpick there, Parker. So I think right. So you're saying why are we clapping and not obeying the rules? I mean, I would argue that a lot of people did obey the rules, but when you have a certain level of society, should we say, economic level of society, that cannot isolate and still have to go to work, otherwise they have no food or are able to pay the bills because the government haven't put anything in place to protect those people, I think that's also an issue. Isn't it?
That is an issue, but it's the people who go out to parties and you know, visit their friends, you know, inside when they're not in their support bubble or where they should be isolating, or for those who even know that they have COVID yet still go outside and still socialize and pass it on to other people. You know, it's those people who are the fraction, you know, most of the people who are putting strain on the NHS.
Okay. I mean, I've got to give my two pence here and let everyone else dive in. I've got to say, I think demonizing certain people for going out or going to parties, whatever, I think is dangerous because it becomes a blame game, and then you get people going, well, they've done it, I might as well do it. So, and also we don't really know how many people have actually broken the rules. I mean, how many people have broken the rules? How many parties have there been? You know, I mean,
sorry, James. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a dangerous case because it could be like, you know, remember Benefit Street? Anyone ever see that? Or the argument that, you know, there's all these people who are on benefits are doing it criminally and taking the money, and in actual fact, it accounts for 0.0001% of benefits fraud. You know, I just think it can be dangerous to think that way, because you end up having a them and us mentality. Do you know what I mean? Go on, James.
Sorry, I've jumped back in. I was just thinking, what you were saying, because also the main punishment, well, the only punishment I think for breaking the lockdown rules is a fine.
Yeah.
Now, if you're minted, that's not going to bother you.
No.
Actually, if you're poor and if you really are struggling, a fine is going to be the worst thing possible for you. So actually, who is this rule? What is this? Do you see where I'm coming from? Actually,
yeah, definitely.
So I think it's interesting. Do we need harsher punishment? Do we need a punishment that's a bit more representative of the whole of society? I don't know.
Well, fines only criminalise the poor, don't they? Really? Because the poor can't pay it, because they can't pay it. And there's
rich people, it doesn't really matter much to them, does it? They'll pay it and then they can do it again.
No.
It doesn't really matter.
Because also with this them and us mentality. So we as youth workers, what have we been consistently trying to tell the young people? You know, keep your distance, keep 2 meters. And a lot of the young people I've seen or spoken to, even when I was allowed out a little bit, were obeying the rules, but they were still getting blamed.
It's the young people that get blamed a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And they're also not very responsible.
Well, exactly, and they're still the ones that are going to school because they have to get, at the time we had to get an education. Yeah. And then they're going, well, why? Hold on. Why is there so much coronavirus in young people? They must be not keeping 2 meters distance. It's like, well, they can't. You've sent them to school.
No.
I also think it's, when they do the briefings and the conferences, they also bring up all these statistics and all these tables that say that, the line for young people is this big, but the line for, say, like 30 to 40s is like this big. So it's almost like it's a visual representation so that young people are more likely to have the virus and spread it.
Yeah, they don't really say why though, do they? They don't really bring in the context behind it. They just say the numbers and then...
Right. So how many people aged between 18 and 30 are generally in low paid jobs that are classed as essential? Like working at Tesco's, it's essential, or any of the supermarkets. So, I mean, are they part-time, whatever? I mean, one of our young people, James, you remember Luke from Lodge Farm? He had a part-time job at Tesco's and he was still going to work because he had to. I've got
a part-time job at Waitrose and I still have to go.
There you go. So you're spreading coronavirus.
Exactly. And all my family, we're all seen as essential workers. So my mum's a teacher, so she has to go in. My brother and my dad work in a factory, so they've got to go in. Yeah. So we're all at risk.
Yeah. So I mean, I know. How many of that age group actually work those jobs? Because that would be a better representation, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because then you'd see why it's spreading rather than just saying it's spreading because
because they're working in Waitrose and these posh people with loads of money keep coming under 2 meters of me whilst I'm stacking these shelves. Please stay away.
Really close.
Well, yeah, because there are still people that go shopping. They just don't care. You're always going to get that aspect.
People that don't wear masks for no reason. It's horrible.
Get out of my shop. Do you say that? Do you say that, Charlotte?
No, I wish I could. The man.
Does he? Does he shake his fist?
Yeah, he doesn't let him in sometimes.
Now, I've suddenly got a lot of time for that guy. I like it.
Yeah, I like him because of that.
So, I mean, but what have been people's personal experiences? I suppose. I mean, because I can't give any personal experience because I haven't been out to a shop since early 2020, really, because I haven't been allowed. So, what have been your experience of actually going out? What have you seen when you've been out there?
I think there's been quite a lot of change. Sorry.
That's right.
I think there's been quite a lot of change sort of from a worker's point of view. Like there's so many rules we have to follow now. Like you have to wear masks all the time. You have to try and keep that 2 meter distance. But I think if someone really doesn't care that much about it, there are ways to just get around doing all of it. And I think there should be more rules enforced, maybe on a stricter basis to kind of enforce it and show how important it is.
Yeah.
Because even if you're only going to the shop like once a week, we've had loads of people change from like personal, like physical shopping to online shopping, which has helped quite a bit with our sales, obviously. But I don't know how much that's helped reduce the virus in the store. I don't know how prevalent it is in shops and things. I don't know how much it spreads in shops. I haven't got a clue.
Depends which shop you go to, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd like to think that Waitrose they'd actually obey the rules, but I don't think you can actually make those assumptions. I think anybody that's actually still going into a shop is still a risk factor, I suppose.
Exactly.
What about you, Parker? What's been your experiences?
Well, to start off with, when I went into shops, no one, obviously, I know it was only by law that you had to wear a mask a couple of months after it all came about, but no one was sort of wearing masks. I mean, I walk into a shop now, I mean, I'm at home, but I walk into a shop now and people and, you know, shop workers aren't wearing a mask. There's only a select few, and I know they could have underlying health conditions, but the majority of their workers weren't wearing masks. You know, and it's like Sainsbury's, when I was in Northampton and when I was living in my student accommodation last year, even before the masks were law, they were wearing masks. It was a rule that they had to wear masks, and somebody who lived in my house who also worked at the same Sainsbury's said that it was a rule in that shop now to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And I mean, as a student walking into uni, for example, you know, everybody's wearing masks, everybody's, you know, doing their part to stop the virus. And when I was part of the welcome team, when we had the new intake of students at the uni, you know, they were all asking questions to make sure that they were following the rules.
Yeah.
There were only a select few people who weren't, or who argued. But you know, you just got to do what you have to do to follow them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, James?
So yeah,
what's it like in London?
It's a bit mad. It's a bit mad, I must admit. So I live in Camberwell. So that's South London. So I live in Camberwell, and a few months ago, I was put on some 2 years training. So I was put on placement. I was working in Camberwell, Elephant and Castle, a bit south, a bit further towards the river, and then Nunhead was like just around, again, all in the Southwark borough. And if I look at the November lockdown, you could call it a lockdown, to be fair. You know, the streets were packed, very busy. Public transport, you know, buses are still just as full. This lockdown's different. This lockdown's a little bit different. But again, if you walk down to Camberwell High Street or Camberwell down the bottom, you know, there's no. You'd struggle to see it. You know, so it is social distancing. People are not necessarily gathering, but there's still loads of people out. There's lots of reason for that. I think loads of reasons because of that. You know, the diversity in these communities and getting the message out to that. To actually, what is that? You know, these rules. Is it being translated into, you know, in their language, and are they understanding where they're coming from? There's lots of different reasons behind that. So yeah, it's interesting, London, I must admit.
Yeah, it's a bit. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone's in the chat watching. If you want to tell us about your experiences, how you feel about it, like the NHS, what we've talked about, please ask us any questions. Because it's still very complicated, I think. The whole thing is very complicated. I wish we were back in 2019. Because I've got to be honest. I mean, James, you were you never joined us in the pub or anything, but I do miss going to a pub garden, like in the summer, and like going, oh, what bag of crisps shall I have as a little treat?
One more pub quizzes though, James. So
yeah. So that's the thing. Everyone's missed out on my wonderful pub quizzes as well. Pub quiz master, me.
One of the round is James Shepherd. Is that right? How are we going to guess that? How are we going to guess that answer? Grew up with James. How are we going to know that? But...
Yeah, I'm just weird and wonderful. So Parker and Charlotte, I'm sorry you've never seen any of my quizzes, but it's a question you can ask on the Twitch at some point. Check out Free to Talk Gaming on Twitch. There's another little plug. That's how we do this. Right, so because it's LGBTQ History Month, isn't it? Parker, what did you want to bring up and talk about?
Well, I know we've already mentioned it before, like a good couple of weeks ago, but there is something going on with the laws of the age of which children should be given puberty blockers. And it's all come about because this one person has said that they regret having the puberty blockers and having surgery because it's permanently changed their body, and they were too young to understand all the risk factors and everything and to make an informed decision. There's been a lot of arguments about it from trans children and young people, from parents, from people who have no idea about anything, from politicians. There's been a lot of talk about it. Now, the NHS are saying that it will harm young people's mental health to not have these puberty blockers. And my argument is on the same argument that the NHS is making. They have to meet strict criteria for them to get the puberty blockers, so that they know, and it's not just the young person as well, it's also their family, to make sure that everybody in their support bubble and everybody in their family unit knows what's going to happen, and make sure that it is the right thing, not just for the young person but for the family as well. And parents are saying how that they're scared for their children who are trans, who want to get these puberty blockers, because they can already see the negative effect it's having on them because they're too young to have it at the moment. They're scared for their future.
So as everything you've said there, Parker, I mean, a lot of this, I think, because it's been blocked, you know, this one person's account. So obviously everyone's basically gone, we could be doing the wrong thing, because the whole idea of transitioning is still alien to people, I think. Is that fair? Understanding it.
Yeah, I think there's a lack of information about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, particularly like me, because, you know, as we said, I'm old. Like with Parker, when they came on board, you know, I had some questions, because for me, I just have dealt with it in a very simple way, where the young people that say within our youth groups wanted to identify a certain way, they just told me, and I've gone, okay. I haven't really questioned.
That's the best way to do it. If you don't have the knowledge about it, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, but I've also not explored it any further, you know. So Parker, with your information, it's really helped. But obviously the other extreme is, like, I had a conversation with a friend of mine last week. I'm going to use this as a talking point, actually, because he brought it up because they're interested in youth work, my friends, while we're playing computer games online. Because at his work, he works in a very, should we say, manly men type work. Yeah, manly men, we are men, women. That's it. That's all they understand. And there was a huge hoo-ha at his one of his work sites because of someone talking about, I think it was one of their siblings or something, wanting to transition, and this person getting a hell of a lot of stick for it from the other workers. So my friend wanted my opinion on it, but he was asking it in a kind of argumentative way. So why should he to call someone by a different name that's not theirs? Why? And yeah, because he wanted to be argumentative. He wanted my take on it, and my take was for me to call someone by a different name that they want to be called for. How does it affect me? It's none of my business. It's like there's no point me arguing it, because it's not me that's going through that change, isn't that? Do you think that's right? I mean, I think it is, for me personally. Charlotte, go.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I think if you wanted like a different nickname or something, most people wouldn't hesitate for that. And I think it's just the same thing. It doesn't really affect you. You just got to remember to do it. It doesn't affect you at all. I think it's stupid if you don't want to do it. I think it's horrible.
Yeah, I'm just like, why are these people so angry about it?
There's nothing to be angry about, I don't think.
Why are you so angry
name,
that someone wants to be called by a different name? I don't get it. James, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, on a youth work perspective, that actually that young person that comes to you is, you know, you could be the only person that, you know, they're coming to talk about that. I remember in one youth group, a young person said to me, actually, I can't talk to my parents about this, so I'm coming to talk to my youth workers. And actually, that's such a powerful position for youth workers to be in. And actually, how powerful youth worker is. You know, a youth work is. I'll get on the right youth work rant here, James. Like, well, no, you got to stop me. I'll stop. No, I'll stop. I'm not a youth worker, but I'm a youth worker at heart all the time. Yeah. And what was I saying? Yeah, and absolutely. You know, that youth worker needs to realise the power they've got talking to that young person, and really choose their words wisely, and in a real sense of knowing actually you could be the only person in the whole world this young person's talking to, about something that's so, you know, so powerful, so deep and so strong in their lives. So
yeah, it's important. Parker, I want to use you as a particular example because you've come on as our LGBTQ advisor, should we say? It's one of the reasons why you're working with Free2talk. I mean, your own journey of your identity. I mean, if it's not too personal for me to ask, I mean, who do you feel most comfortable telling first?
So, I had no idea about LGBT in school. I just knew the LGB, so lesbian, gay, bisexual. I had no idea what the T stood for, and I found out it was transgender. I was like, what is that? It was a whole new world for me. And then, so in school, I came out as bisexual. It was in year 10 or 11. And then in college, my first friend was this trans guy, and he opened up my eyes to all these different things, all these different terminologies, whole different world. And it was amazing because there were so many different things for myself that I could explore, because, you know, my school specifically in society, I was always told by them that you must be this specific way. And then having that freedom to explore my own sexuality, my own gender, you know, it was eye-opening. I then came out in my second year of college as non-binary, so I neither identified as a man or a woman. And then I've recently come out as a trans masc, so I identify more with my masculine side. And now, you know, that's just what I identify with. It's been crazy. It's been a journey. It's had its highs, it's had its lows, but I am the most comfortable I've ever been in my life. I mean, I look back at when I was a child and I was thinking, I wasn't happy then. And even my parents couldn't tell a difference to what I was then to what I am now, you know, and I like talking about it, and I like raising the awareness around that. It's not unusual, it's not new, you know, being trans has been a thing for many, many years, even in the 1800s and before. But it was shut down because of all this politics and all these new rules and regulations. And now people are afraid to come out because they're afraid to get bullied. And I have been bullied. But, you know, you've just got to respect everybody's individual identity, because it's going to be different to the person sat next to you.
Yeah, I mean, well, everyone's an individual, aren't they? They're all going to have it in different ways. I mean, from my perspective of in our youth groups, I've got to say we've had. Do you know, I've actually lost track of how many young people have actually kind of, should we say, come out for their own identity, and we just kind of go, okay, we'll just accept it. Do you want us to change your name on the register, on all our details? It was usually a yes. How do you want us to approach it? Blah, blah, blah. It's all fine. And I think I've spoken about this before, about how accepting actually all the other young people are about it, because they're living.
I think
you're living it.
It's an older generation problem rather than a current generation problem.
Yeah,
definitely.
It definitely is. Yeah, it's not my generation, but it probably is. Yeah, it's older. Much older. Yeah, so I mean, the young people, like in particular, one of our groups, like Lodge Farm, we're just because we'd have like 60 or 70 young people at some points each week, and they didn't care. If I'm honest, they were like not bothered at all. They're like, "Oh, okay, that's your name now. Okay." They just get on with it.
You as a person, does it?
No,
no.
Well, not straight. Well, yeah, it might do, you know, because you might learn to be more comfortable with yourself and become a slightly different person, I suppose. But you know, it's me just kind of over egging that a bit. But we've Elizabeth Esley has said hello to you, Jay. James Pegg, oh my gosh! And Elizabeth, he's not, but he's just back for a special occasion for this.
Yeah, only for an hour, mate.
Just for an hour. Yeah, so I think that's a real positive with our young people, I think, about how accepting they are of it. I mean, you're still going to get some bullying. I mean, Parker, you're 21, 22? 21. So obviously you were bullied at school, which is still actually not that long ago, really, is it? No. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to make it fully acceptable. I mean, what was sex education like for you, Parker, you and Charlotte? What for your age group? What was it actually like? What did it include? Did it include any knowledge about LGBTQ?
Not at all.
No, not at all. Okay.
We just learned about straight relationships, and that was it. I know now though they either have or they're on about bringing up gay couples, gay relationships in sex education for children now. I'm not 100% sure on when that is or whether it has been put in place or not.
A big thing about mine as well is boys and girls were separated in primary and secondary school. So
still do that.
About girls and then boys would talk about boys, which is ridiculous.
Back in the day of mine, we actually had to watch a VHS video. You guys probably don't even know what a VHS is.
Oh, my school was very old fashioned. We did watch those.
Did you have a VHS?
They're still a thing.
That's amazing. Now I don't feel so old. Oh dear. I mean, James, with your 2-year training, is it brought up at all, like LGBTQ, like support?
Yeah, there's conversations about it because it's just the way society is. There's a real diversity within society, and people have all sorts of needs, and actually there needs to be a response to people's needs, and actually that response needs to be without any discrimination. So it is absolutely a conversation, and that's happening. I also think in regards to the higher education side of things, and I think back to sex education when I was in school. Yeah, you're right, exactly the same. There was no talk about LGBTQI plus. And actually, but then it's our onus on us, particularly those who work with people, to get yourself educated. And so I remember, again, when I was with Free2talk, I went on a what was it? What they call it? It was a hate crime training day, and it's actually tackling hate crime within hate crime within young people, within communities. And it's the little things we can do, like when we go and, oh, that's gay, oh, that looks well gay, actually challenging that sort of behaviour. And that's something I adapted. You have to use it when you're working with people generally. So
I mean, I'm gonna be honest here, put it out there, I still do stuff like that myself with my friends. We still do it, but we kind of do it with each other, which is just as bad, and we're all trying to get out of the habit of doing it. But it's just,
did you do it a lot when you were younger?
No. See, we say it actually weirdly as a term of endearment. It sounds weird, and it all comes from an actual gay friend of mine who used to say hello, go, hey, hi gays, like that's what he'd say, and it just stuck. So I don't know why. So I'm still guilty of this kind of language, and I'm still trying to challenge myself to get out of it.
It's such a good learning curve as well, though. It's actually when you say, oh, that's gay, I go, oh, so tell me, what do you mean by that? And actually, when I've done it before, and they go, oh, I don't know, actually, and actually, actually, what do I mean when I say that?
I think it's like I point things out and I go, oh, that's so gay. you know. But just because I am a gay person myself and I'm within the LGBT community, you know, I'm using it in a positive way. If you're using it in a negative way, like when I was in school, it was, if anything was sort of out of the norm or anything was said like negatively, it was, oh, that's so gay. That's, you know, for me personally, you know, everybody has their own, everyone in the LGBT community has their own opinion on it. But for me personally, as long as it's not being used in a negative way, and as long as we can challenge those negative sayings, then I think, you know, it's not so bad if it's used in a positive way.
Yeah, I think, like you said as well, if you don't know why you're saying it or the meaning of it, it's sort of, you know, it changes it a little bit. If you are doing it just in a positive way, but you don't know why you're doing it, it's just a bit different than, you know, if you are being, you know, horrible on purpose.
I mean, I think there's a whole lot of understanding involved, isn't there, with our young people? Like James has like challenged it before, and then they kind of go, oh, and you see that light bulb go off in the head, don't you? Sometimes when you actually explain something in a different way, rather than either ignoring it or shouting it down, which they've probably had before, like say at school or something in a more stringent, strict environment. And once you get people thinking about it, they go,
again, the importance of youth workers. Youth
workers, we're the best. Just like on the Twitch stream, where I can't remember if it was Charlotte or Parker that were trying to convince my little brother to become a youth worker.
It was me.
It was a youth worker. You should become a youth worker, because we were talking about teaching and stuff. So anything else we want to talk about with LGBTQ? I mean, we're going to bring up some stuff for the next month, really, because it is a LGBTQ history month, isn't it? I've got a lot. I found I've got a lot of reading I need to do. Like the most recent thing I read about was this group of four lesbian women who abseiled into Parliament to argue against the bill in like the 80s. I had read about that and I was like, this is amazing. I'm just like actually abseiling into Parliament. I was like, it was brilliant. And we've actually got Laura going, yay, youth workers, yay, youth workers. Also, because we've got to say it, because I've said it before, James for Prime Minister, just because I've been saying that a fair bit. So we're going to be covering stuff, but if you've got any questions, any young people that's watching it, or any adults, you know, anybody got any questions, please put them in the chat, or please just send us a message through Free2talk CIC or any of our youth worker pages. Anything else anyone wants to add to finish off the LGBTQ bit? No. Okay, fair enough. So we had a lot of other news this week, but there's one in particular that I directed Parker and Charlotte to, because Parker brought up the idea of football and it helping people's mental health through the lockdown. So football being on TV, allowing the players to continue playing as long as they're kind of socially distanced, which after every single goal they've all scored, they haven't been. There was an extra thing that Parker, you saw. I can't remember the article. What was it? It was particularly about mental health, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I was just sat on the sofa, you know, I was on my phone doing what I do, and my dad was watching the football, and something came up about men's mental health in football, and the science behind it is basically when you're watching football or if you're in a crowd, you have this chemical that goes off in your brain called dopamine, I think it is, and it's basically like a happy chemical, and it makes you feel very happy. And when people watch football, that's released. So when people can't go to football matches and they're just sort of sat behind their TV screen, it has that negative effect on mental health, and not just for men, but for women as well.
Because we should add, there are women footballers and women that like football.
And, you know, and I just thought, well, we stigmatize these football players and people who watch football, saying all they do is kick a ball around. Why are they being paid so much? Why is it so important? But we're not actually looking at the other side of things, that maybe it's actually a good thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, society has decided that they're important, though, hasn't it? Like, it's decided that football is the game they want to watch. I mean, James, you like football, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I said, every there's 2 games a week. Come on, like literally, my wife is like gutted. Like, what, more football? I'm like, yeah, there is. Yeah.
I mean, these people moaning about, they could get paid all this money to run around kick a ball, but you've decided that. You've made it so popular. That's how the capitalism has worked, basically. But also, you've got Marcus Rashford, who's done this huge campaign for school dinners. You know, they're not just kicking balls around. They're idols. They're mentors for people, not just old or young, like everybody. So they're important. So if they're there to improve your mental health, I mean, and school dinners, obviously, in Marcus Rashford's case. Charlotte, do you like football?
Not really. My uncle loves it though. I'm just not a fan of it. I don't mind watching, like, if England's playing, I'll watch that sometimes, but I would never go out my way to watch it, really.
Casual football fan, that's what I'm like.
Yeah, I appreciate, I think it's, like Parker said, obviously there's so many benefits of it, even if you're just sitting down watching it. So, yeah, I appreciate it, yeah.
Yeah, it's all bit
I think
fun.
it's interesting about, like, crowd and people I think people just want to be together, don't they? Like, people want to, like, align themselves with something. So they want to, they want to join something. They want to, have a kit, have a symbol. Like,
it's like anything. People love all sorts of things, isn't it? And people, like all sorts of things. So it just depends on what you like.
Yeah, not just football.
Yeah.
Gigs, going to see a band.
It's the same thing.
Going to the pub, going to the gym with friends. There's all these things that you can do together that you miss out on, or having other people around you. So yeah, So if you do need to watch football, watch football. I mean, for example, tomorrow is the start of the Six Nations, and I don't like football, but I do like rugby. So that'll be me at 4:45, England v Scotland. Yes, I did used to play rugby, and I do like it. So obviously, I wasn't very good at it because my glasses are massive.
Where did you used to play, James? What position?
I was a winger. Generally,
I thought like you'll be like in the middle of the scrum there, James.
No. So what I struggled with when I played rugby, was like, I used to do like the 100 meters in 11.5 seconds, which is like really quick. So I was a winger because they throw me the ball and I just leg it. But also because I'm so blind, because my glasses are really thick. Obviously, this was before contacts were generally used. So because at a certain age, people run away from tackles, and it's usually like in secondary school because they don't want to be tackled. I couldn't see the tackles coming, so I just didn't care. Just used to run over people. And they used to have a play called Blind Badger Ball, which was just for me, where they just kicked it really high and I ran after it, and inevitably just ended up running around going, and it'd drop over there. So
so you used to play without your glasses? Yeah.
Couldn't see. It was really funny. It was entertaining to watch, that for everybody else. Right, yeah. So we got to that time where we've got about 10 minutes left. But before we go to our next happy bit, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for coming again, and everyone that said on the chat, like Elizabeth trying to get James to come back to Northampton. Come back as a youth worker.
You're going to pay me, is she?
Maybe. She could do that. So Parker, thank you as well. Charlotte for being our extra special guest, because
I really enjoyed it.
Not be around. Yeah, excellent. So what we might do Charlotte, because I think Owen might be off next week as well. If you'd like to come on and be a co-host whilst I work out my other special guest, that would be excellent.
Cool. Yeah,
it's good. I found it good to have other people on that aren't just me ranting. So. Because that's what I like to do. Right, so we got to that time where we're going to go around and talk about one cool or happy thing that has affected you this week. I've got mine. I've told you about mine, but I want to share it with everyone. So that's yours as well. You have to think of something else. So Parker, what's been your happy thing or cool thing that's happened to you in the last week that's put a smile on your face?
Well, it hasn't necessarily put a smile on my face, but it's put me at ease. I've gotten a bit further with my uni work, and I'm more caught up with that now than anything else. But something that has put a smile on my face was my dog barging into my room this morning at 8 o'clock when I only had 15 minutes left on my alarm, wagging his tail like crazy. So I went downstairs and went to go let him out, but he just plonked himself on top of the landing. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I just thought I'd get you up. And just looking as cute as ever.
Oh, now you make me want a dog. But I'm not allowed one. I'm not allowed one. No, we live in a 4th floor flat, so it just wouldn't be fair on the poor little thing. Okay, some other people have suggested hamster as well, actually. So just have to work on it. James, what's been your good thing that's happened to you this week?
Oh, I'll take 2 if you don't mind. One really quickly.
Go for it.
Football related. Manchester United won 9-0 this week. You may have heard 9-0.
Who were there?
It was a rugby score, wasn't it? Really?
Who were they playing? Me?
Just you on your own. Just said James in the goal like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 9-0. So that made me really happy this week. Generally, this has made me really happy. You know, Mark and Charlotte, but talk to James again. Did you know? Did you guys know that James is an amazing chef? Did you know that? he can cook like amazing, like halloumi risotto bake. Honestly, like.
It's actually a video on our Facebook and YouTube channel. If you want to watch, I do a how-to and a how to make it with my special recipe.
I might have to look at that later, James.
Thanks, James. That's wicked that you've come on and you've said that. But also, I've got to say to everyone else that James is not a good chef, are you, James?
Right. If there's anything off. Right. Everyone knows when you cook a pasta bake, you don't have to cook the pasta first. That's right, isn't it?
So, what do you think, Parker and Charlotte? Right. So, if you make a pasta bake, do you have to cook the pasta first?
Yeah, I made one last night. Yeah, because it's not all cooked then, is
it? I've been dissing James for that for 4 years.
I promise you can. You don't have to cook pasta.
Yeah.
Well, you know for next time, don't you?
He does know for next time. But I think it was a lot of other people, like Matt, that used to work with us as well. I remember when it was 1 week where I asked him if he could do the cooking at Lodge Farm, and within 10 minutes, using my chef's knife, he'd cut his hand open and had to go to A&E.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh God. Yeah. I better do this then. I better carry on. Charlotte, what's been your happy, cool thing that's happened to you this week?
I'd say probably I did a really big assignment before Christmas and I got it back and I was pretty happy with the grade. I mean, I always worry about grades and stuff, but yeah, I was quite happy with that. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad you got a good grade, but don't worry about it too much. It's all right. You know, you just try. Don't get stressed about it. Yeah.
I just don't want to have to retake anything, to be honest.
Fair enough. Especially not through another lockdown type uni situation.
I don't think I can do
it. No. It's been oh dear. Anyway, so Richard has come on to say Sunday, the whole of Sunday. So he had a darts competition and it was the Royal Rumble. So Richard really loves his wrestling. I like wrestling as well. But I don't have to watch wrestling anymore because Richard tells me all about it. he tells me what's happened. And he's also said, cough, 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 plug the Twitch. Because he's good, is Richard. So he gets prepared just so I can do this kind of stuff. And don't forget to check us out on Twitch. I've been talking about it all through, Richard. You just came on a bit late. Right, so my favourite thing that happened this week has involved a parish council. Okay. Now, I did have a slightly different happy thing, which was like a cat. I think it was a cat video that I found that just made me laugh because I'm weird like that. But this is a video of a parish council arguing over Zoom. Now I'm going to share it and we can watch it live in real time. Now, you know, it's on the Guardian site through YouTube. Don't judge me for that, but it's because I hope they've cut out any of the expletives. It's particularly why I look for the Guardian one. So should we have a watch?
Hello again.
Hello again. I thought I was going to get in then.
When do we plan to start?
I think we should start any moment, Chairman. I think it's perhaps helpful just to go through the same things as we went through before, which is just to encourage people to switch off their microphones, because it does reduce the background.
Can we be assured that we won't be thrown out of the meeting like we were last time?
As long as we have reasonable behaviour from everyone, no one will be excluded from the meeting.
Reasonable behaviour.
I was thrown out of the meeting. So was
Quite
Councillor
rightly.
Churchill, so was Councillor Brewerton. Please let the
Mrs.
chairman
Weaver, please.
If you disrupt this meeting, I will have to remove you from it.
You can't.
It's only the chairman who can remove people from a meeting. You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver. No authority.
She's just kicked him out.
I-
Just a minute. No, she's kicked him out. Don't.
What's she got against it? Why is she so angry?
This is a meeting called by 2 councillors.
Illegally?
We now elect a chairman.
No, they can't because the vice chair's here. I take charge. Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.
Where's the chairman?
We
Read
elect
the standing orders. It now reverts to me.
Where's the chairman gone?
like to elect a chairman for this meeting.
You don't have to elect a chairman. There's a chairman already installed. The chairman of the council.
Councillor Burkle, we've been through this.
What are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about.
Could I be respectful to Jackie Weaver, please?
I find that the person on Alec Bruton's Zoom is being very disrespectful to everybody.
Oh, coming from you from Birkenhead, that sounds good.
Wow.
I'm glad for that.
Can I propose John Smith, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Okay.
My first point is to apologise to Jackie, but welcome to Handforth.
Indeed, it's nothing if not lively in Handforth.
Yes, but what I would say is...
So you kind of get the gist there. So it's basically lots of parish councillors who are, should we say, mature, behaving like little kids. You have no authority here. Well, actually, I've got the registered Zoom account. Bye. And it really made my week, I think, because it's completely ridiculous. And there's all these people that say, well, young people are so irresponsible and rude, and it's like, well, this is what happens. So there we go. That's my little happy thing. Yeah, Richard likes it as well. There we go. Best video seen this year. But thanks everyone again that's joined me. Thanks to everyone that's watched us as well. We will say goodbye to the stream, but just for Charlotte's and James's purposes, when we say bye and I go offline, we can still talk to each other for a little bit, just so everyone doesn't go bye straight away before we can say bye to each other. But everyone say bye to the stream, and we'll see you again next week. All right, bye stream.